everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I am of course the Motorcycle Rescuer, and this is Motorcycle Rescuer. You saw the fix on this yesterday. Very temperamental fix, that one. Taking a chunk out of the metal is not ideal, it really isn't. I'm only giving it a shot on this occasion because I know how to do it now, so I can drop some weld over it if I need to do it again. But I haven't got the welder here, it's at a local charity at the moment, so I would have to bring it back or take the bike there. So it was worth doing this anyway, and I think that's going to hold anyway. I have no concerns about that, and as Warren's going to be using this bike, he'll let us know anyway. I'm just going to do some touching up. When you get things like this, guys, I know you feel silly sometimes touching them up if you haven't got the exact colour, but the difference between white and grey is huge. Even if you blacken them out, it will lessen the impact. So do some of that, you know, get some touch up, or get a close grey and do some touching up, because it's extremely helpful and it makes the bike look more loved and cared for. You saw the brake pads being done. So I'm just going to do a little bit of touching up, and then last minute we noticed that the light bulb isn't working, so there's some sort of electrical issues in there. But Warren's coming to see this bike and test it, so I'm not going to mess around taking the front off yet. I'm going to let him test it first, and then I'll look at the front light, because that's the last piece of this puzzle. Otherwise it's a great bike. Alright, Gene. Otherwise it's a great bike. It looks like it's in kilometres, so 20,000 kilometres, roughly 14,000 miles. That's good news. All of the keys and locking system works, steering locks, everything works. Great bike. Thanks for that, Danny, actually. It's really handy, helped Warren out. Gary is due today to do bits and pieces on his Bandit. The bars are bent. He's bought some new ones. It's a shame these are Renthals, but he's bought some new ones. What else is he doing? And then he needs to, create this new bracket up here, doesn't he, to hold the clocks on. But this will be back to its good old self in no time. My priority today, if I can find some time to chip off this red crap, look, which comes off in your hands, even though I prepped the surface properly, I'm going to try and get that done over the next couple of days. But I want to show you the potential fix for the Nats Knackers Yard er5. So I'm going to pull that over and we're going to have a little chat about it. So here we are. So Nats Knackers Yard er5, painted beautifully. It's had an intermittent fault that has been such a pain in the arse dealing with. But somebody wrote on my wall the other day, and they said, do you know the ignition system has that dreaded 100 ohms resistor in it? And I thought, no, I've never known that actually. I had no idea. I know the Suzuki GSXRs of around the same age-ish had them. I had no idea these were using them. So up in here, which is a pain in the arse to get into, underneath, there's a resistor in there, and the CDI will not send spark if that resistor's broke. And that is the potential problem. That's the potential problem. Now I believe it's a grey wire from the ignition, so you'd have to work out what that was. Or it may be worth looking at the grey wire into the CDI. So we've got, there it is. So on this side, so it's that grey wire there, you see. So what I'm going to do is, I've bought the resistors here. They're pennies, which is why in a way they shouldn't really use them on these bikes, but they do. That's the resistor. It would be as simple as putting that in line at this stage, putting that in line and seeing if we get spark back. If I turn this over right now, there is no spark on either coil. Obviously I could have bodged the stator, but I don't think so. I think there's been an intermittent problem the whole time, and I think it's probably that resistor or a bad CDI. But that is kind of the max I'm going to throw at this bike. Otherwise, I'm not sure. I'll chat to Nate. It'll probably be a parts bike or something, because that's a good running low mileage engine. The paintwork's stunning, but if the wiring is causing this many issues, then it's a pain in the arse. But for now, we need to keep an eye on the side stand switch here to make sure we know which ones, whether it should be connected or not. So we'll test it with and without that when we do anything. And technically I've got to put a split in that grey wire and put in a resistor. It's very scary, actually, scary stuff. Once you've done that, you pop one of the spark plugs and you test it. Have I got one here? Here, perfect, look. Set up and ready. Now the problem is, why it could be the resistor is because at times it fired and at times it didn't. And then we were messing around with clutch switches and we were thinking something intermittent's going on here. So it would make sense that it was kind of giving up that resistor at some point. I'm going to double check online that it is the grey wire, but I believe it is, because there's nothing else similar. There's a black and red, black and white, green and white, green and white, brown. It's got to be that grey wire. And then you need to find a decent spot, probably somewhere down here, where you can kind of basically splice it and put in your resistor and see if we get spark back. If we do, it'll be a miracle. There's other things about this bike that bothers me. I don't know if it jumped a tooth or not. I can't work it out. I know I moved and changed the timing last week on the crank, but I don't know if I was meant to. I don't know if I had to. So it's all a bit weird. But let's get spark back first, because I can always go back into there. I've done it before. I can do it again. I can always go back into there. Let's get spark back first. So at the moment it's as simple as that to see if that was our issue. We cut the wire and we put the 100 ohms in the middle. That's fine. Then of course we need to just be careful with the side stand switch to see if that's also interrupting the system. What else? At the moment we can turn it over and we can press the button to see if we've got any kind of spark. Let's get this onto the engine, because we need some sort of earth. Come on, in here. That's it. There you go. And somewhere on there you'd see some sort of spark, but I'd like to check that side bit. Definitely no spark there. I can feel it and I can see it. So let me do the side stand switch just by putting them up, because they will also create that same issue. Simple as that. Let's have a look. If it was that simple, I mean, it's highly unlikely, but we would have spark back. Definitely no spark there. So 100 ohms resistor, inline, grey wire, didn't work. What does that leave us with? Could leave us with a bodge CDI, of course. They're like 80-90 quid, so that's why you need to hold back. You need to try everything else first. Let me double check that it is the grey wire that we need to worry about, and then we'll come back and have another look. So hacking away. So we had two stators. The original was kind of sparking a bit. I think we went back to the original. The new one wasn't sparking. That's something we might need to keep playing with. We might need to switch over more. I've got a concern about the wiring here. Now the yellow and black goes up here and it ends up here in the same port we're messing with. I've taken the ohms resistor out there. Now I'd like to run two new wires from here. I'm just going to splice them in just up here to there to see if there's anything split in between there, and that would just tell us that there's no wiring issues at that stage. It would kind of just make sense. Otherwise we kind of it's the same old, we're just kind of plugging away. So I'm going to splice in here and in here, and I'm going to run it up here, just touch it onto them two, splice it back in, and then we'll see. We'll just make sure that there's no issues within this wiring loom, because there could be something could have ripped, split, or anything like that. Okay, now I know this looks terribly bodged, but this is obviously not the full-time fix. We're just testing if there's any issues between the wires between here and the CDI. So we've jumped the gap. There you go. So we've missed all of the wiring loom and we've gone straight to there. That just tests. Side stand switch still undone because we don't know if it is a open or a closed loop that gives it spark. So you just try both. Every time you change something else, you try both. You try open and you try closed. You'll see spark and you'll feel it. Put your finger on it, you'll feel it. It will sap for you. It won't hurt much. It will just buzz. And you can hear spark as well when it's sparking. So let's press the button, I guess. Let's have a little look. High hopes. Nope, no spark. So let me just do these and try again. So I'm doing that thing, guys, where I flicker from project to project, but I'm just coating this in the truck bed lining now. It's so much better stuff, guys. That red stuff was crap. I'm dusting it on really lightly though, so it gets tacky. Battery's dead on this. Can't do anything more at the moment. FMX looks like it's not charging. Now obviously I had all these similar issues. Let me first find out what's happening with the front light, because that could be why it appears not to be charging. And otherwise it's the same wiring system as the one I worked on recently, and I think I've got some spares, so we should be able to resolve this quite quickly. But at the moment it definitely didn't feel like it was charging. It was 12.4 on the battery and 12.4 with the engine running, but to be fair I didn't get to rev the engine up properly, so I will double check all that. But I'm going to look at the front light first. If the front light is flickering when the engine's on, then that would suggest that it's not charging anyway. Okay, so where are we? At the moment I've put a second bulb in. We're not getting any power to this front light at all, so I have to work that out. I don't know what's going on there. Gary's here in the background. He's going to be working on his Bandit and his Keyway, just doing bits and pieces. See, now me, I'd be on this Bandit all day, but he's smart. He's like, no Charlie, I'm using the Keyway every day. It needs to be comfortable and safe. And I'm here like, let's get the Bandit done. But he's absolutely right. Now, what would stop a front light from working at all? All right. Love it. So we're changing the bars. You guys heard about Gary's crash. The bars were quite bent. You weren't sure that they were bent, were you?
I mean, no, I was 1% sure it's bent, but I thought it's worse.
See, look, guys, you can see the bend now. It's massive. See how that one goes over there, and that one comes up. I mean, it's unbelievable, Gary.
You know, it wasn't easy.
Look, me and Gary were arguing if they were bent or not.
They were not bent. Where do you see it?
Can you not see it?
Of course I can.
Can you? How can you? Let's see. Yeah, it's terrible. That one's, or that one's in. That one's come up.
Yeah.
That one's out.
Was left hand side when I had the
accident,
so.
way out. They're much better. They are much better. And we're going to check his pads after. His brake pads, they seem quite low on the front.
They're going to suit the bike.
I can't work out why I'm not getting power on this. What would stop me getting power to the front of the bike? Need a good look. So still playing with this wiring. At the moment, this bunch seem to be dead, which is interesting. So the majority, the switch seems to work. The regulator potentially isn't working, hence the... So there's wiring here. So this loom here, there may be another connector somewhere that needs looking at or cleaning or something. Because this second one that goes up here first seems to be okay. So there's issues in this loom, but I don't know exactly what they are. Check out the black on this. I don't think anyone would argue with me that it looks so much better. That rough black is absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I should have used more of it actually. Spot on. It's great stuff. That Halfords truck bed lining is brilliant, guys. It lands on anything. It doesn't peel off. Fingers crossed. It's really great stuff. Really great stuff. So if you want to rough up your bike but make it look 100 times better, go do a project with that stuff. And it's there, look. Great, so I need to kind of break this bike down, really, sadly. I need to look at the wiring loom, which goes right down under the floorboards and towards the back. So I just need to figure out what's going on. So I'm going to start taking some bolts and screws off. Okay guys, so a lot of wiring done. I've routed the issue down to back here, I've cleaned and done that up, and we now definitely have a functioning light. So if I turn the ignition on and we look here, let me see if I can fire it up. There you go. Let's go high beam, low beam. Good. I'll just check the bulb that's in there, make sure it wasn't that bulb. And I'm currently using a separate regulator that I bought here, so I'm going to take that off, put the original back on. I'm just going to check the charging function of the bike with both on, but seeing as they're wires from the stator, I think it all now makes sense. So I'll plug in the original the original regulator. I'm going to check the original light bulb. I'll check it now on this first, actually, just in case we change too many variables at once, and then I'll check for the charging. We should, I think, be back to where we are meant to be. This should be a fully functioning bike. Let's double check that. Let's make sure it comes on. There you go. Great. And I'll double check the voltage on the battery. Otherwise, I think we are exactly where we're meant to be. That's brilliant news. I can bolt this back up. This bike is pretty much done and dusted.
Like this, I need to change it for sure.
I bought a couple of sets recently, so I might happen. I told you.
Yeah, they're done.
Wow. Let me have a quick look. To pop them out.
Yeah.
Oh, good. You've got these clips. They're not. Pop them out. I've got 2 sets at home. I mean, it's highly unlikely, but
I think your ones are longer. No, I see them.
Have you?
I think so.
You've been in my bedroom. I've also got a caliper in there that looks very similar. Let me just have a quick look. Right, sorry guys, here you go. It just saves him having to order some pads if there are any. It looks very. These are as thin as yours, though. They look similar. Look, in fact, the caliper looks identical, doesn't it? Same pins, but they're.
I think this is very similar.
Very similar.
I think that's the one. Look.
Let me check at home. I'm gonna.
That's the one. I think that's the one.
How can we have the same? That's ridiculous.
That's the one.
All right, let me just check at home because I bought some pads for that, and it might be them. Okay guys, before fully nipping it all up, you'd be nuts not to check it one more time. One more time, make sure the light is on, make sure the high beam works. Oh look, you've even got the LEDs, that's quite cool, look, see them? Excellent. Check the high beam, good, high beam, check the horn. Check the indicators. Oh, that's not the indicators, that's the start switch. Indicators on the other side. Check the indicators one more time. Oh, what have I done? That one's flashing fast. I must have unplugged this one by mistake. Let me check the other side. That one's working. So yeah, see, lucky. I could have easily thrown on that panel, and I've not got my front right, which I did have earlier. So let me get my hand in there and sort that out. So there you go guys, it was just a bit of a loose wire. We're back, raring to go. Now back to the stone roses.